Hey there, fellow nocturnal enthusiasts. Welcome back to Cryptid Whisperer, the channel where we dive deep into the dark, the weird, and the downright terrifying to help you survive the creatures that go bump in the night. I'm your guide through the cryptid-filled chaos. And today, we're tackling something a bit more bloodthirsty than your average campfire tale. The Strigoi. If you've been around long enough, you know that we've covered werewolves, vampires, and even those pesky little gremlins. Strigoi are the kind of creatures that make regular vampires look like cuddly puppies. They're undead, they're pissed, and they've got a serious chip on their shoulder about being stuck in the whole not quite alive, not quite dead situation. Whether they're crawling out of their graves to suck the life out of their victims, or just lingering around like that one relative who refuses to leave after the holidays, Strigoi are the definition of bad news. And that's where we come in. Because here at Cryptid Whisperer, our mission is to make sure you know exactly how to deal with these undead assholes before they make you their next midnight snack. So, sit back, relax, well, as much as you can when discussing bloodthirsty fiends, and get ready for a survival guide packed with tips that'll keep you breathing. And hey, if you find these tips as helpful as they are hilarious, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and ring the notification bell so you never miss another guide to surviving the things that go bump in the night. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around, because when it comes to cryptids, we've only just scratched the surface. So, without further ado, let's dive into tip number 1, and start arming ourselves against those undead nightmares known as Strigoi. 1. Avoid open graves. So, you're out for a late-night stroll in a cemetery, because apparently you've decided that tempting fate is your new hobby. The wind is howling, the trees are doing that creepy creaking thing, and there's just enough moonlight to make everything look like a scene out of a horror movie. Suddenly, you spot it. An open grave. Now let me stop you right there, adventurer. That yawning hole in the ground? It's not an invitation to start practicing your grave diving skills. It's more like a big, flashing neon sign that says, "Congratulations, you're about to make a terrible life choice." These guys are like the undead equivalent of that one relative who refuses to leave after the holidays, except they're a lot less jolly and a whole lot more bloodthirsty. They didn't get the memo that being dead means you're supposed to stay dead. And now, they're back with a vengeance. Think of them as vampires' grumpy, underachieving cousins who couldn't even bother with the whole seductive charm thing. They're more about clumsy, staggering bloodlust and bad attitudes. Now, I know what you're thinking. How bad could it be? Well, picture this. You're leaning over that open grave, maybe hoping for a cool Instagram shot to show off your edgy side. And then, before you can say, "bad idea," a bony, undead hand shoots up, grabs your ankle, and yanks you into the darkness. Surprise, you've just become the latest contestant in the Strigoi's favorite game. Who wants to be a midnight snack? But let's be real for a minute. Strigoi are the kind of undead that couldn't even make it as proper vampires. They're like the knockoff version, the store-brand cereal of the blood-sucking world. No capes, no castles, just a lot of dirt under their nails and a serious chip on their shoulder because they couldn't cut it in vampire school. They're bitter. They're resentful. I mean, if you can't even stay dead properly, maybe it's time to reevaluate your life choices. Or unlife choices in this case. And don't think for a second that you can outsmart them. The Strigoi may not be the brightest bulbs in the undead chandelier, but they've got one thing going for them. Persistence. They'll claw their way out of that grave, like a teenager desperate for Wi-Fi. And they're not interested in making friends. They're the original can't-take-a-hint monsters. No invitation needed, no RSVP required. They're coming for you, whether you like it or not. And they don't care if you've got plans. So, unless your plans involve becoming the next blood donor for an angry, undead fiend, it's best to steer clear. Let me paint a picture for you. You're walking away from that open grave, because you're smart, right? And suddenly you hear a rustling behind you. But no, You keep walking because you're not about to be the idiot who turns around and says, "Hello, is anyone there?" Spoiler alert, it's not the friendly neighborhood cat. It's the Strigoi, dragging themselves out of the dirt like they've got nothing better to do. Because let's face it, they really don't. These guys are so desperate for attention, they're practically the undead equivalent of that guy who still brings up his high school football glory days at every reunion. So, what should you do if you see an open grave? Here's a crazy idea. Walk away. Don't investigate. Don't poke around. And for the love of all that's holy, don't think, maybe there's treasure in there. Spoiler, there isn't. The only thing you're going to find is a faceful of angry Strigoi who are not amused by your curiosity. These aren't the cool, brooding vampires with a tragic backstory and a tortured soul. They're more like the undead version of a midlife crisis. Angry, frustrated, and out to prove they've still got it, whatever it is supposed to be. And let's be honest, the Strigoi aren't exactly the sharpest fangs in the crypt. They're more brawn than brain, which is why they've got to rely on brute force and blind rage to get the job done. They're like the undead equivalent of that one guy at the gym who thinks grunting really loudly will make him stronger. Sure, they'll try to scare you with their snarls and gnashing teeth. But at the end of the day, they're just a bunch of undead losers who couldn't hack it in the afterlife. In conclusion, when it comes to surviving a Strigoi encounter, the best advice is to avoid it altogether. Don't be the person who ends up as a cautionary tale because they couldn't resist peeking into an open grave. Stay smart, stay alive, and avoid open graves like they're offering free tickets to a Strigoi convention. Because honestly, who wants to hang out with a bunch of undead failures anyway? 2. Keep a silver coin handy. Alright, let's talk about silver. It's not just for fancy jewelry or making you look like you've got your life together when you pull out that shiny coin at the coffee shop. No, in the world of Strigoi, silver is basically your all-access pass to staying alive. If gold is for pirates and dragons, then silver is for anyone who doesn't want to end up as a Strigoi's midnight snack. You might be thinking, a silver coin? Really? What am I? A medieval peasant trying to pay the ferryman? Well, kind of. Except instead of crossing the river Styx, you're just trying to avoid getting dragged into an early grave by an undead loser who's got a serious grudge against the living. The Strigoi have this weird thing with silver. It's like their kryptonite. While Superman's out there dodging green rocks, these undead jerks are scrambling to get away from anything that glimmers like a freshly polished spoon. But why a coin, you ask? Well, let's break it down. Coins are portable, easy to carry, and can be slipped into a pocket, a wallet, or even taped to the inside of your shoe if you're feeling extra paranoid. Plus, they don't take up much space, which leaves plenty of room in your bag for other essentials, like garlic, holy water, and maybe a few snacks because vampire hunting is hungry work. Here's the thing. Strigoi are sneaky, but they're not exactly geniuses. They might be lurking in the shadows, waiting for you to slip up. But the second you whip out that silver coin, they're going to rethink their life choices. Imagine you're at a shady bus stop late at night. Just you, the flickering streetlight, and that one guy who's clearly up to no good. You've got two options. Pull out your phone and pretend you're on a call with your very real and totally nearby friend. Or reach into your pocket, pull out that silver coin, and let it catch the light. The Strigoi, just like that shady guy, are going to take one look at your shiny little insurance policy and decide that maybe tonight's not the night to mess with you. But let's not stop there. Silver isn't just a one-trick pony. Got a silver ring? Perfect. It doubles as both a fashion statement and a last-minute weapon if things get dicey. Ever seen a Strigoi get a taste of silver? Spoiler, it's not pretty. We're talking sizzling flesh, agonized shrieks, the whole 9 yards. It's like watching someone realize they've bitten into a ghost pepper instead of a regular chili, except with more screaming and fewer regrets about their life choices. Now, here's where it gets really fun. If you're feeling extra crafty, You can even get creative with your silver. How about a silver-tipped cane? A little old-fashioned, sure, but nothing says I'm too classy to die, like whacking a Strigoi over the head with a silver-capped walking stick. Or how about a silver flask? You can sip your drink in style while knowing you've got a Strigoi repellent right in your pocket. Just remember, whatever form your silver takes, it needs to be pure. None of that cheap-plated nonsense. This is life or death we're talking about, not a knockoff costume piece. Let's be clear. You're not going to win a sword fight against a Strigoi with a coin, but you might just save your skin if things get up close and personal. Imagine this. The Strigoi is closing in, all hissing and gnashing teeth, thinking they've got you cornered. Then, bam! Out comes the silver coin, flashing like a beacon of hope in the darkness. The Strigoi recoils, hissing like a cat that's just seen a cucumber, and you've got your opening to make a break for it. It's not glamorous, but neither is being dead, so I'd say you're coming out on top. And let's not forget the psychological aspect. Strigoi are a superstitious bunch. After all, they're the ones who couldn't figure out how to stay dead. That coin in your pocket isn't just a piece of metal. It's a symbol, a reminder to those undead schmucks that they're not invincible. Sure, they might have a thing for blood, but at the end of the day, they're just as scared of a little silver as you are of waking up with a stiff neck. In conclusion, a silver coin is more than just spare change. It's your ticket to surviving an encounter with a Strigoi. Keep it close, keep it shiny, and don't be afraid to flash it if things start to get a little too undead for your liking. After all, when it comes to avoiding a Strigoi's bite, a little silver goes a long way. So next time you're rummaging through your change jar, do yourself a favor and set aside a coin or two. It might just save your life. And at the very least, it'll give you a great story to tell at your next party. 3. Sleep with garlic. Alright folks, let's get something straight. When it comes to the undead, garlic isn't just for making your pasta sauce pop. It's your first line of defense against those blood-sucking, grave-crawling Strigoi. Now, I know what you're thinking. Garlic? Really? Isn't that just for keeping vampires away? Well, guess what? The Strigoi are basically vampires' trashy cousins who can't take a hint. And just like their fanged relatives, they've got a serious aversion to garlic. I'm talking full-on, gag-worthy, nose-wrinkling hatred. So, when the sun goes down and the Strigoi start their nightly hunt, you'd better be prepared to smell like a walking Italian restaurant. First things first, if you're not sleeping with garlic by your bed, you're basically asking for trouble. And I'm not talking about a little sprig here or there either. I mean, you need to commit to the garlic lifestyle. We're talking cloves hanging by the windows, bulbs under your pillow, maybe even a garlic wreath on your door if you're feeling fancy. The goal is to create a garlic-scented fortress that says, "Not tonight, undead motherfucker." Now, before you start whining about how garlic smells, or how it's gonna ruin your dating life, let me hit you with some hard truth. Better to smell like you've been marinating in garlic all night than wake up with a Strigoi gnawing on your neck like it's an all-you-can-eat buffet. Besides, if someone can't handle a little garlic breath, they're probably not worth your time anyway. Priorities, people. Let's talk practicality. The beauty of garlic is that it's cheap, easy to find, and doesn't require any special skills to use. You don't need to be a black belt in martial arts or a master of ancient rituals. Just grab a few bulbs, string them together, and boom, you've got yourself a DIY Strigoi deterrent. And if you really want to up your game, consider making garlic oil. Keep a bottle by your bedside, and if you hear something creeping around in the night, just give it a good spritz. It's like pepper spray, but for assholes who can't stay dead. But here's where it gets really fun. Garlic isn't just about survival. It's about sending a message. When you hang garlic by your bed, you're telling the Strigoi, "Come at me, bro. I dare you." It's like putting up a neon sign that says, "No trespassing. Violators will be fucked up." And believe me, the Strigoi will get the message loud and clear. They might be undead, but they're not stupid. They know that tangling with a garlic-covered human is like trying to eat a ghost pepper raw. It's not going to end well for them. And don't think for a second that you can just skimp on the garlic. Strigoi are persistent little bastards. If they catch a whiff of you without your garlic armor, they'll be on you faster than you can say, "Where's my steak?" You need to make sure that garlic is everywhere. Rub it on your door frames, stuff it in your shoes, hell, make yourself a garlic necklace if you have to. The goal is to smell so potent that even your neighbors start complaining. But hey, at least you'll be alive to hear them bitch about it. Picture this. You're lying in bed, drifting off to sleep, when suddenly you hear the unmistakable creak of floorboards. Your heart starts racing, but then you remember, oh yeah, I'm armed to the teeth with garlic. You calmly reach under your pillow, pull out a fat clove, and just as that Strigoi bastard is about to make his move, you hurl it at him like a baseball pitcher on steroids. The look on his face? Priceless. He recoils, hissing and spitting like a cat that just got dunked in a bathtub. And you go right back to sleep, safe in the knowledge that you just sent that undead asshole packing. In conclusion, garlic isn't just a seasoning, it's your ticket to a Strigoi-free existence. So, stock up, spread it around, and make sure you're protected from head to toe. Because when it comes to surviving the night, smelling like a garlic clove is a small price to pay. And remember, it's better to be alive and stinky than dead and, well, dead. So, go ahead, embrace the garlic life. You'll sleep better, and the Strigoi can go suck it, literally. 4. Bury their heart, twice. Alright, so let's say you've done the unthinkable. You've actually managed to take down a Strigoi. First of all, congratulations. You've officially outlasted an undead jerk who probably spent more time brooding than actually doing anything useful in their afterlife. But don't start celebrating just yet. Taking down a Strigoi is only half the battle. Now comes the part that separates the pros from the amateurs. You've got to make sure the bastard stays dead. Here's the deal. Strigoi are notoriously hard to kill. I mean, these guys didn't even let death stop them the first time, so you can bet they're not going to take a second death lying down. That's why you can't just do the usual vampire routine, stake them through the heart, say a witty one-liner, and call it a day. If you want to make sure this Strigoi doesn't come back for round 2, you need to go the extra mile. And by extra mile, I mean bury that heart twice. You heard me right. After you've staked the Strigoi through the heart, and let's be clear, you've got to make sure you hit the sweet spot, no half-assing it. Take that nasty shriveled heart out and bury it separately from the body. But here's the kicker. Don't just bury it anywhere, bury it at a crossroads. Why a crossroads, you ask? Well, according to folklore, crossroads are where supernatural forces get a little confused. Don't just bury that heart once. Oh no, you've got to bury it twice. Yeah, I know it sounds like overkill, but trust me, with Strigoi, there's no such thing as being too careful. You bury that heart once, and you've done a decent job. But you bury it twice, and you're basically telling the Strigoi, stay the hell down, or I'll bury it a third time just to be sure. Now, I can already hear some of you saying, but that sounds like a lot of work. Yeah, it is. But let me ask you this. What's more work, digging a couple of holes or having to deal with the same Strigoi coming back for revenge because you got lazy? Exactly. Plus, think of the satisfaction you'll get from knowing you've thoroughly ruined that Strigoi's afterlife. They're stuck wandering around some backwoods crossroads while you're at home, enjoying a nice cup of tea and laughing at their misfortune. Let's break it down step by step. First, you stake the Strigoi, make sure it's a clean hit right through the heart. Then, you dig up that nasty little organ and find yourself a nice, out-of-the-way crossroads. And I don't mean the intersection in your neighborhood with a stop sign. I'm talking about a real crossroads, the kind that looks like it's been forgotten by time. Bury the heart deep, cover it up, and then, here's the key. Go find another crossroads and do it all over again. By the time you're done, that Strigoi's spirit is going to be so lost it won't know which way is up. And if you're wondering, why can't I just toss the heart in a river or burn it? Good questions. The thing is, burning might work, but there's always that nagging worry that the ashes will somehow find their way back to the body. Rivers are great for many things, but they're no match for a vengeful spirit. Crossroads, though. They're the Strigoi's worst nightmare. It's like giving them directions in a language they don't understand, and then walking away with a smile. In conclusion, if you want to sleep easy, knowing you've put a Strigoi down for good, you've got to do the job right. Stake them, yank out that heart, and bury it twice. Once at each of 2 different crossroads. Sure, it's a little extra effort, but it's worth it for the peace of mind. After all, the last thing you want is to wake up one night and find that same Strigoi standing at the foot of your bed, looking for a rematch. So, dig deep, get dirty, and make sure that undead bastard stays buried where he belongs. Forever. 5. Carry a bottle of holy water. All right, let's cut to the chase. When you're up against a Strigoi, you need every trick in the book to keep your blood where it belongs, in your veins. Enter holy water, the ultimate in portable anti-Strigoi weaponry. This stuff is like liquid kryptonite for the undead, and trust me, it's worth lugging around a little vial of it everywhere you go. Yeah, it might seem old school, but when the alternative is becoming a Strigoi's next midnight snack, I'm betting you'll happily add it to your everyday carry. Now, let's get one thing straight. This isn't your grandma's tap water. You can't just fill a bottle at the sink and call it a day. You need the real deal, the kind that's been blessed by a bona fide priest. No shortcuts here. This stuff has to be legit, or you're just carrying around a fancy water bottle that's going to do jack shit when a Strigoi comes creeping out of the shadows. Once you've got your hands on the good stuff, here's what you do. Put it in a spray bottle. Yeah, you heard me right. You want holy water on demand, not fumbling around trying to unscrew a cap while an undead nightmare is bearing down on you. Think of it as vampire mace. One quick spritz, and suddenly that Strigoi is reconsidering all its life, or unlife, choices. Let me paint a picture for you. You're walking home late at night, minding your own business, when you hear that unmistakable sound of something shuffling behind you. Maybe it's just a raccoon, right? Wrong. You turn around, and there it is. Looking at you like you're the all-you-can-eat special at the local blood buffet. Most people would panic, but not you. You've got your trusty spray bottle of holy water ready to go. One good squirt in the face, and that Strigoi is going to react like you just threw acid on it. Seriously, the stuff makes their skin bubble and sizzle like bacon on a griddle. Except, you know, less delicious and more horrifying. But here's the kicker. Holy water isn't just for close encounters. You can use it to prep your home, too. Sprinkle it around your doorways, your windows, hell, even your bed if you're really paranoid. The idea is to create a barrier that says, "Not today, you undead son of a bitch." And the best part? It's invisible, so you won't even ruin your decor. No one needs to know that your chic new apartment is actually a fortified anti-Strigoi fortress. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but what if I'm not religious? Look, you don't have to be a saint to use holy water. The Strigoi don't give a damn about your personal beliefs. They're only interested in your blood. So, whether you're devout or just desperate, the fact remains that holy water works. You could be an atheist with a spray bottle full of blessed H2O, and it's still going to make those Strigoi freak out like they just walked into a daylight rave. And let's not forget the psychological advantage. You see, Strigoi are creatures of habit. They like the dark, they like the quiet, and they really, really like it when their prey is unprepared. So when you pull out that spray bottle and start dousing them like you're putting out a fire, it throws them off their game. Suddenly, you're not just another helpless victim. You're the badass with the holy water, and they're the ones scrambling to figure out what the hell just happened. So, how do you carry it? Discreetly, of course. Keep it in your bag, your coat pocket, or even in the glove compartment of your car. And don't be shy about having multiple bottles stashed in different places. This isn't the time to be minimalist. This is about survival. When a Strigoi decides to crash your evening, you want to be ready to unleash a holy water beatdown that'll send it running back to whatever hellhole it crawled out of. In conclusion, carrying a bottle of holy water might seem old-fashioned, but when it comes to Strigoi, old-school methods are often the best. It's easy to use, portable, and incredibly effective at sending those undead freaks packing. So, go get yourself a bottle, or 3. Keep it handy, and be ready to spray the holy hell out of any Strigoi that crosses your path. Because when it comes to surviving a Strigoi encounter, a little holy water can make all the difference between walking away unscathed and becoming just another horror story. 6. Avoid looking out of windows at night. Let's set the scene. It's late at night, you're home alone, and everything's eerily quiet. Maybe you're watching a horror movie because nothing says I make great life choices like scaring the hell out of yourself before bed. Suddenly, you hear something. A faint creak, a rustle outside your window. Your heart skips a beat, and instinctively, you start to turn your head toward the window, thinking, what could it be? Maybe just a tree branch, or a stray cat, right? Wrong. This is exactly the kind of curiosity that gets people killed in horror movies, and in real life if you're dealing with Strigoi. Because here's the thing. Strigoi are the ultimate creepers. They love lurking outside windows, peering in, waiting for you to make the fatal mistake of meeting their gaze. Once they've got you locked in, it's game over. They'll either hypnotize you into doing something really stupid, like inviting them in, or they'll just break through and go for the jugular. Either way, it's a bad time for you. What if it's just the wind? Yeah, and what if it's not? You see, Strigoi are sneaky bastards. They know how to mess with your head. A scratch here, a tap there, just enough to get your attention. To make you doubt yourself, to make you think, maybe I should just take a quick peek. Think about it. What good has ever come from looking out a window in the dead of night? At best, you might see a raccoon rifling through your trash. At worst, you get a full frontal view of a Strigoi licking its lips and sizing you up like you're the main course at an all-you-can-eat buffet. And trust me, once they know you're aware of them, they're not going to just tip their hat and move along. They'll take it as an invitation, whether you meant it that way or not. Here's a pro tip. If you hear something suspicious outside, just assume it's a Strigoi and ignore it. Close your curtains, turn up the volume on whatever you're watching, and keep your eyes glued to the screen. The more you ignore them, the less fun it is for them. Strigoi are like needy exes. They thrive on attention. Don't give them the satisfaction. And let's talk about those windows for a second. Why do we even have them, right? They're basically Strigoi doorways that we all keep wide open like we're asking for trouble. Sure, they let in light during the day, but at night, they're just gaping, black voids that scream, "Come and get me." So do yourself a favor. Invest in some heavy-duty curtains, the kind that block out everything from sunlight to the prying eyes of undead creeps. And for the love of all things holy, never, and I mean never, go to sleep with your curtains open. I don't care how tired you are, how secure you feel, or how much you love the view of the moonlit street. Leaving those curtains open is like rolling out the red carpet for a Strigoi to come tapping at your window. They'll stare at you all night long, waiting for the moment you crack an eyelid and look their way. And once you do, they've got you. You'll be so entranced you won't even realize you've opened the window and let them in until it's too late. If you absolutely must be near a window, make sure you've got a light on behind you. It'll make it harder for them to see you. Better yet, keep your back to the wall and your eyes on the room, not the night outside. The less you interact with the darkness, the better. And if you're really paranoid, which, let's face it, you should be, you can always take it a step further. Salt the windowsills, hang a few cloves of garlic nearby, maybe even splash a bit of holy water on the glass, for good measure. Sure, your house might start smelling like an Italian deli, but that's a small price to pay for keeping the Strigoi out of your business. In conclusion, windows at night are a no-go. They're not your friend. They're just portals to the outside world that Strigoi love to exploit. So do yourself a favor. Ignore the noises, close the curtains, and for the love of garlic, don't look outside. Because once you do, it's not just your peace of mind that's at stake. It's your life. And let's be honest, no view is worth that. 7. No nighttime strolls through the forest. If you're even considering taking a nighttime stroll through the forest, it's time to rethink some life choices. I don't care how peaceful it sounds or how much you want to connect with nature. The only thing you're going to connect with out there is a Strigoi's fangs. Seriously, forests at night are like the Strigoi's personal hunting grounds. And trust me, they didn't invite you for a friendly chat around the campfire. Let's break it down. Picture this. You're walking through the woods, the moonlight barely filtering through the trees, casting creepy-ass shadows everywhere. Every rustle of leaves makes you jump, but you tell yourself, it's just a squirrel or a rabbit. Cute, right? Wrong. Because while you're busy convincing yourself it's nothing, there's a Strigoi lurking just out of sight, grinning like a maniac because you've just handed yourself over on a silver platter. You see, Strigoi love the forest for one simple reason. It's the perfect place to ambush dumbasses who think a nighttime nature walk is a good idea. It's dark, it's quiet, and there are a million places to hide. That creepy tree stump could be a Strigoi crouching, ready to pounce. That eerie mist, a Strigoi's favorite cover. And those distant, glowing eyes? Yeah, those aren't the friendly forest critters you're hoping for. Let's be real, the forest at night is basically a death trap for anyone who doesn't have supernatural senses or the ability to turn into a bat and fly the hell out of there. And last I checked, you're not a bat, and you sure as hell don't have night vision. So why put yourself in a situation where the odds are stacked against you? And don't even start with the whole, but I have a flashlight nonsense. You think a little beam of light is going to save you from an undead predator who's been perfecting the art of sneaking around in the dark for centuries? All you're doing is making it easier for them to find you. You might as well be waving a white flag and offering up your neck. Let me spell it out for you. Forests are where Strigoi thrive. They know every inch of the terrain, every shadow, every sound. You're just a clueless city dweller stumbling around like you're in a haunted house attraction. Except, this isn't some cheap Halloween scare. You're dealing with real, pissed-off undead who are more than happy to make you their next victim. And let's talk about what happens when you run into a Strigoi out there. You think you're going to outrun them? Think again. These guys move faster than your worst nightmare. 1 minute you're walking, the next, they're right behind you, breathing down your neck. And let's face it, running through a dark forest isn't exactly easy. You'll trip over roots, get tangled in branches, and by the time you've picked yourself up, the Strigoi's already got you pinned like a bug on a board. But hey, let's say you somehow manage to avoid face planting and actually make it out of the forest alive. Congratulations. You've just pissed off a Strigoi, and guess what? They hold grudges. You think they're just going to let you go? Nope. They'll follow you, stalk you, and wait until you let your guard down. Next thing you know, they're at your doorstep, reminding you why nighttime forest adventures are for people with a death wish. So, what's the takeaway here? Simple. Stay out of the damn forest at night. It's not romantic, it's not relaxing, and it sure as hell isn't safe. Stick to well-lit, populated areas where the only thing you have to worry about is the occasional stray dog or a really aggressive raccoon. Because in the battle between you and a Strigoi in the woods, the Strigoi is going to win every time. And if you absolutely have to go into the forest at night, which, let's be honest, you really don't, then at least take some precautions. Bring garlic, holy water, and maybe a good pair of running shoes. Though they probably won't help much. But honestly, just stay home. Watch a movie, read a book, do literally anything else. Because when it comes to surviving a Strigoi encounter, the best advice is to avoid giving them a chance to catch you alone in the woods. Stay smart. Stay safe. And save your forest adventures for the daytime, when the only things you have to worry about are bugs and poison ivy. 8. Keep a holy symbol close. So, let's talk about holy symbols. You know, those little trinkets you usually see dangling from rearview mirrors or tucked away in drawers like some kind of spiritual insurance policy. When the sun goes down and the undead start prowling, that dusty old cross or rosary isn't just a keepsake. It's your last line of defense. Now, I know what you're thinking. A holy symbol. Really? What is this? The Middle Ages? But here's the thing. Strigoi don't care what century it is. They're ancient, pissed off, and allergic to anything that reminds them of the good old days when they were supposed to stay dead. Holy symbols, whether it's a cross, a rosary, or even a blessed pendant, are like kryptonite to these bloodthirsty bastards. They see one, and suddenly it's like you've turned into the last person they want to mess with. But here's the catch. It's not just about having the symbol. It's about believing in it. Strigoi can sense doubt like a shark smells blood. If you're half-heartedly waving a cross around like it's going to magically solve all your problems, you're in for a rude awakening. You need to hold that symbol like it's the most powerful weapon in the world because, in this situation, it pretty much is. Confidence is key here. If you believe it can save your ass, it just might. Let's say you're out for a walk, minding your own business, and suddenly, you get that creepy feeling that something's watching you. You know, that chill up your spine, hairs on the back of your neck standing up kind of feeling. You turn around and bam! There's a Strigoi looking at you like you're the main course at a 5-star restaurant. This is where your holy symbol comes in. You pull it out, hold it up like you're some kind of action hero, and stare that Strigoi down. The best part? If you've got your belief game on point, that Strigoi is going to back off faster than a kid caught with their hand in the cookie jar. But, let's be honest. Just holding up a holy symbol isn't enough if you're planning to be the Van Helsing of your neighborhood. You've got to get creative. Ever thought about wearing that cross as a necklace? How about a bracelet with blessed beads? It's like carrying a concealed weapon, but cooler and way less illegal. And for those of you who might not be the religious type, don't worry. You don't need to start going to church every Sunday to make this work. Respecting the power of these symbols is enough. Whether you're agnostic, atheist, or just too busy to think about it. The Strigoi still know that a holy symbol isn't something they want to mess with. So even if you're just wearing it as a precaution, it's better than facing a Strigoi empty-handed. But here's where it gets interesting. Holy symbols can do more than just keep Strigoi at bay. They can also serve as a psychological edge. Picture this. You're cornered, nowhere to run, and that Strigoi is getting closer, snarling, ready to pounce. Most people would panic, but not you. You've got your holy symbol in hand, and instead of backing down, you lean into it. You start talking, maybe a prayer. Maybe just some choice words to let that Strigoi know it's messing with the wrong person. Suddenly, the Strigoi's not so sure anymore. It hesitates, maybe even second-guesses itself. Because let's face it, nobody likes dealing with someone who's confident and prepared. And don't forget the home front. Hanging a cross above your door, placing a rosary on your windowsill, or keeping a holy symbol near your bed isn't just for show, it's practical. It's like putting up a no trespassing sign for the undead. They might be able to walk through walls or disappear into shadows, but when it comes to holy symbols, they're not taking any chances. It's like garlic for their soul. Repellent, annoying, and guaranteed to keep them out of your business. So, what's the takeaway here? Keep a holy symbol close and don't treat it like an accessory. Whether you're wearing it, holding it, or just keeping it nearby, it's your first and best defense against a Strigoi attack. Believe in its power, respect its significance, and use it with confidence. Because when you're up against an undead asshole who doesn't know when to quit, sometimes all you need is a little faith and a lot of nerve. 9. Salt your threshold. Let's talk about salt. Sure, it's great on fries and can turn a bland meal into something worth eating. But did you know that salt is also your first line of defense against a Strigoi breaking into your home and turning you into a late-night snack? That's right. This humble seasoning isn't just for your kitchen. It's for your survival. It's time to start thinking of salt as more than just something you sprinkle on your popcorn. Now, I know what you're thinking. Salt? Really? Is this some kind of joke? Nope. Salt has been used for centuries to ward off all sorts of supernatural nasties, and Strigoi are no exception. Think of it like a supernatural security system. It's like they've got an allergic reaction to the stuff. You lay down a thick line of salt across your threshold, and suddenly, it's like you've installed an invisible force field. It's cheap, it's easy, and it's damn effective. Plus, it doesn't require any special skills. If you can sprinkle salt, you can protect yourself from the undead. But let's not stop at just the front door. You want to be thorough here. Salt the windowsills, the back door, even the fireplace if you've got one. Anywhere that a Strigoi might try to slither in, you want a nice, thick line of salt. Sure, your place might start looking like you've got a serious sodium addiction, but hey, better that than becoming Strigoi Chow, right? And here's where it gets really fun. You can get creative with how you apply it. Some folks like to use fancy salt dispensers, making neat, even lines. Others go for the dump it and run method. Just grab a box of salt, tear it open, and start pouring like you're trying to fill a kiddie pool. There's no right or wrong way to do it, as long as you're getting that barrier down. The Strigoi won't care how neat it looks. They just won't be able to cross it. Now, I know some of you are thinking, but what if it rains? Won't that wash the salt away? Good point. If you live somewhere with unpredictable weather, you'll need to stay on top of it. After a heavy rain, check your barriers and reapply as needed. Think of it as part of your regular home maintenance, like mowing the lawn or taking out the trash, but with way more life-saving potential. And let's not forget about your interior. If you're really committed, and you should be, sprinkle some salt around your bed, your sofa, or anywhere you might be sitting or lying down for long periods. It's like creating a safe zone within your own home. Plus, it gives you an excuse to keep things tidy. No one likes a salt-covered mess. But it's a small price to pay for peace of mind. But here's the real kicker. If you're feeling especially bold, mix that salt with a little holy water. You're already doubling down on your Strigoi protection, so why not go all the way? Just a few drops of holy water in your salt. And let's be real for a second. There's something deeply satisfying about knowing that a simple household item can outsmart an ancient, bloodthirsty creature. The Strigoi, with all their centuries of terrorizing the living, brought to their knees by Morton's finest. It's almost poetic, really. So, what's the takeaway? Salt is your new best friend. Stock up on it. Use it liberally. And don't be shy about salting every possible entrance to your home. It's cheap, effective, and it doesn't require any special incantations or rituals. Just a steady hand and a little common sense. Because when it comes to keeping the Strigoi at bay, sometimes the simplest solutions are the best. And remember, in the battle between you and the undead, the power of salt is nothing to sneeze at. Well, unless you get a bit too enthusiastic with the sprinkling. 10. Don't invite them in. All right, this might sound like a no-brainer, but it's so important that it deserves to be hammered home. Never, ever invite a Strigoi into your home. Seriously. This one rule could be the difference between enjoying a quiet night in and becoming the main course at a Strigoi's midnight feast. I get it. You're polite, maybe even a little too polite. But this is one of those times when manners will get you killed, literally. Here's the thing about Strigoi. They've got a weird, old-school sense of etiquette. Despite being undead, bloodthirsty monsters, they still follow some ancient rules. And one of those rules is that they can't come into your house unless you invite them. Seems quaint, right? Like some kind of undead vampire code of conduct. But don't be fooled. These bastards are masters of manipulation, and they'll try every trick in the book to weasel their way into your home. Let's set the scene. It's a dark, stormy night. Because... of course it is. And there's a knock at the door. You're thinking, who the hell could that be at this hour? You peek through the peephole, and there's someone standing there, looking all kinds of pitiful. Maybe they're drenched from the rain, maybe they're claiming they need help, or maybe they're just standing there with those sad puppy dog eyes. Here's where you need to channel your inner badass and say, hell no. Because I guarantee you that's no lost traveler. It's a Strigoi, and they're banking on your hospitality to screw you over. And don't even think about playing the nice guy and cracking the door open just to see what's up. That's how they get you. The second you open that door, you're halfway to giving them the green light to stroll right in and start their all-you-can-drain buffet. Strigoi are like vampires with a desperation problem. They'll say anything, do anything, to get you to mutter those fatal words. Come in. Once you've said that, it's game over. They don't need a formal invitation printed on fancy cardstock. Just a casual, come on in, will do, and then you're screwed. Let's talk about the types of tricks they might pull. The old, I'm hurt and need help routine? Classic Strigoi bullshit. The, can I use your phone? Gambit? Nice try, undead asshole. Or how about the, I'm lost. Can I wait inside until my ride shows up? Ploy? Yeah, not happening. These guys are the kings of sob stories, and they know exactly how to tug at those heartstrings until you're practically inviting them in for tea and snacks. But here's the hard truth. The only thing they're interested in snacking on is you. And don't think they'll give up easily. Strigoi have all the patience in the world, literally. They'll stand outside your door all night if they have to, trying to wear you down. They might even pull the, I'm freezing out here, card. Keep that door closed, keep your mouth shut, and don't let their pitiful act fool you. Now, some of you might be thinking, but what if they're not a Strigoi? What if they really need help? Here's the deal. It's better to be safe than sorry. If you're feeling charitable, call the authorities or a local shelter from the safety of your locked house. But do not, under any circumstances, open that door or invite them in. Because once a Strigoi is inside, no amount of garlic, holy water, or salt is going to save you. They've got their foot in the door, and they're not leaving until they've had their fill of you. And here's a pro tip. Don't forget about those sneaky, indirect invitations. The Strigoi might ask something vague like, can I come closer? Or, can I step inside to talk? Don't fall for it. These undead assholes are basically lawyers, twisting your words to get what they want. If you even hint at giving them permission, they'll take it and run with it, all the way to your jugular. The only thing you should be inviting them to do is get lost. So, here's the bottom line. Keep your hospitality in check. Lock your doors, close your windows, and for the love of all things holy, don't invite anyone in, no matter how much they plead, beg, or look like they just stepped out of a Hallmark sob story. It might feel harsh, but trust me, the alternative is a lot worse. Stay smart, stay suspicious, and keep those blood-sucking freaks on the other side of the door where they belong. And there you have it, folks. Your crash course in surviving an encounter with the Strigoi, those undead nightmares who don't know when to stay down. We've covered everything from avoiding open graves to salting your thresholds, and now you're fully equipped to keep those bloodsuckers at bay. Remember, the Strigoi might be relentless, but with the right know-how, you can turn the tables and send them packing back to their graves. If you enjoyed today's tips and feel a little more prepared to face the things that go bump in the night, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps out the channel and lets us know you're loving the content. And, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to Cryptid Whisperer. You wouldn't want to miss out on our next deep dive into the weird, wild, and downright terrifying, would you? Oh, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so you're the first to know when we drop a new video. Whether it's surviving Strigoi, fending off werewolves, or just dealing with your everyday cryptid chaos, we've got you covered. And remember, when it comes to the things that lurk in the shadows, knowledge is your best weapon. See you in the next video.